All right. And then let's just do 1, 2, 3, hit our Audacity. Okay.
Okay.
One.
You do it, Karen.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Okay,
All right.
good to go.
Ginger. Thank you.
Ginger.
So much for coming on. We have a lot to unpack.
Yes. I've been unpacking this stuff for the last several weeks. Well, since we've been home. So it's a lot to process. It's been a lot for me to process.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's catch our audience up. First of all,
Yes.
Excuse our prolonged absence. We were all in Scotland together, which is where we've been storing up these ghost stories for you. But then of course, work and life just gets busy. You know, we all have kids and life and whatnot, but we are back to unpack all of the ghost occurrences that happened while we were all together in Scotland, and really experienced, I think 95% of this was experienced by only Ginger, because she's our ghost whisperer friend. And if you don't know, she's been on twice before. We were ecstatic to meet her in the flesh in Scotland in a haunted castle. So a lot of magic there. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Ginger.
Oh,
every single day we would say, so what happened last night, Ginger?
Yeah. And things always happened. It was amazing. It was amazing. Where do you want to start? Should we just maybe tell everyone where we were? That might be a good start.
That might be a good start.
Yeah, might be a good start. Yes. So I feel like I'm always the talker.
You are always the talker. That's why.
I'm trying to work on that.
Yeah, but you're better at it than me. So it's okay. I kind of just let you go because you formulate the sentences a lot better than I
with
do.
my mouth. Well, Lucy and I run an art retreat each year, and we were at Wardhill Castle, which is in Aberdeenshire.
Yeah, Aberdeenshire.
It's 900 years old. It's actually owned by the Leslie family, who is, they're infamous and famous for a couple of reasons. Their daughter, Rose Leslie, is a famous movie star. She played opposite Kit Harington in Game of Thrones. She played his girlfriend on the show, Egret, and now she's starring in like a major thing right now.
Isn't she doing Time Traveler's Wife or something?
Yeah, she's like she's a big deal. And her parents, who we met on when we were checking in, actually, her father is a member of parliament. Correct. He's a little bit in disgrace for not paying his taxes and something
like that. Yeah.
I don't know that it's a secret, Ginger. And actually
it was all over the newspapers.
Yeah, I don't think this is a secret. And then he had to actually let go of. They had 3 castles that had been in the family for like centuries. That is not an exaggeration, probably 9 centuries, and had to let one of them go a couple of years ago, but they still have and reside occasionally at Wardhill. We met them, like I was saying, as we were checking in, and it was like this old, it almost looked very blue collar, we would say, in the United States. And we were like, that's either the owner or that's like a field hand. And it was the owner. So that was funny. Super nice. You know, you wouldn't think
sort of walked towards us looking a little bit like a farmer, but then came out with a really posh accent. We're like, no, that's it.
Yes. And he said, welcome to our home. And so they still do use that as a residence when they're vacationing or whatnot. So that's where that sort of to set the scene. It's a 900-year-old castle. The family is pretty private. There isn't like a ton of like dirt you can dig up on Wardhill, because Lord knows we've tried. They're not much is known. So the stories that Ginger are bringing you are really like our first hand experiences there, not anything that's been things that we've read or discovered or were able to find online or anything. So that's why I personally am so excited.
We already knew that there was something in the castle because we'd stayed there before, and we'd experienced a couple of little things when we'd stayed there before, which we have spoken about in a previous podcast episode. But just to recap quickly, when we stayed there before, we had like knocking on the window one night, and we had footsteps in the hall one night, and we had heard from the chef that one of the like kitchen staff, the chef's wife had, who's also a chef, had heard like a voice in her ear or something one time. So we had heard a couple of little stories, but we didn't have like a huge amount. But when we were coming to it this time around, we knew that we had our ghost whisperer Ginger coming, so we were like, right,
let's get to work.
Let's get ghost hunting. We nearly bought some special ghost hunting equipment, but to be honest, we don't need ghost hunting equipment when we've got Ginger.
She is our live ghost hunting equipment, and the ghosts really showed up for her, for sure. Huge.
They did. It was almost overwhelming sometimes because I couldn't figure out what to listen to and what to focus in on first, because I feel like I can be a beacon. And so I think they see it, like they see this thing that I do, and they just all bombard me at once sometimes, and it gets a little overwhelming. So I have to like pull away and like focus on little things. So it's really interesting. I haven't had that much experience, like I haven't had that many experiences that quickly all at once, like ever. Usually I'll get like one or two here and there, but that was like super overwhelming for me, at least the first couple of days.
Oh my gosh. And I don't think I really appreciated that. We were so excited. We were a bunch of babbling idiots for you to like, just out with it every day. Like, okay, what happened? And meanwhile, you poor thing, you're sitting there like, first I'm bombarded all night long with ghosts. And then I'm bombarded all day long with these annoying people who need to know everything. But
no, it's great.
Where do you want to start? Because there was a lot.
Yeah, I can really start like when I first walked in.
Okay.
So when we first arrived, I arrived with some other retreat participants. We kind of met at the train station together and just kind of rode in together in a cab. And so, we walked in, and of course we were all excited to be there. You guys had, the wonderful piper there playing his bagpipes as we're coming in, and everybody was arriving at the same time. And there was so much excitement. And so we walked in with our bags, and I walked into the front door, and we put our bags over in the library. And the library honestly had to be my favorite room in the entire castle, just because it was so cozy and so pretty, and just, it felt very feminine. It was just so nice. But as soon as I walked in and I put my stuff down, I just felt this rush toward me of almost like a welcome. And it was excitement. And I was the only person in the room. Like, you guys had already left to go, help somebody else. But there was already this high vibration in the room of excitement. Like, they were really excited for us to be there. I spent a lot of time in the library on the downside. Like, when we had some quiet moments, I would go in there and journal and sit. And I really felt a lot of calmness and a lot of peace in there. I do believe that there were about 3 female presences in the library.
Wow. Oh my
gosh. 3? I can decipher about 3 of them. As I thought about it later, I really felt like 3 different vibrations in there. To me, I feel the energies, I feel the vibrations, and each one of them have a different vibration to them. And so there were 3 distinct ones that were in there. I did feel like the most prominent one was one who, I believe, she was the lady of the castle. She ran things. She was almost like the
monarch, maybe.
Monarch.
Matriarch.
Monarch is like a butterfly. I think it's
matriarch. That's it. Yes, almost like she was like that kind of a figure. But she was very welcoming, and I really just loved being in there. I loved the way that room felt. Nothing crazy happened in there as far as I know, except that I just felt very welcome when I came in there. That was the most peaceful room that I felt in the whole castle.
Can we have like after you go through each room, can we have like a little pause so we can ask questions before we go on to the next one? Because I already have like 2 burning questions that I have to ask you about that room in particular. So first of all, in the room, just to set the scene for people, because they obviously haven't been there, it's one of the smaller rooms that's right to the left of the front door, right when you walk in. And it's in the center or the center back wall is the fireplace. There's really cozy seating all around, like some couches, and then it's filled with library books everywhere. It's like the best, with a writing desk right in front of the front window. It's just gorgeous. And over the fireplace, there is a picture of a beautiful woman who is, I believe, that's Will's father, correct? That's Rose's grandmother. She was that was taken in the 1920s. So that would have been her grandmother on her paternal side.
Yes, I think you're right. I think it was Rose's
Will's
father's
mother.
Sebastian.
Yes.
And
it's his mother, I believe.
His mother, I think.
Right. And she's beautiful. Like usually she's absolutely beautiful. And it's funny because in most castles there's portraits everywhere, but no one is ever good looking.
I know they're all ugly, aren't they?
Portrait. And she's just gorgeous, very 20s. And I thought I remember you saying, Ginger, were you saying you thought that might be her? Is that correct? Or I could have totally be misremembering because it was a few weeks ago.
Right. No, I do believe she was everywhere around the castle. She was in multiple rooms, I believe. I don't think that was the main figure that I felt in that room. I think that figure was much older.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like that one was a much, much older figure. And I felt like there was one about the age of her in that portrait, which would have been probably 30s, maybe. Like almost like a mid-year, like not quite young adult, but not quite
for sure. Yeah,
lady.
Right.
And then I think there was a very young presence that was in there.
Okay.
Because I actually did hear the first night. We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Do you find it
from the library?
Do you get a sense of what era they're from?
I really don't. Not unless they show me.
Okay.
I was going to say, but they did a little bit in we'll get to that later as well.
Yeah. Don't jump ahead, Karen.
No, well, your question made me think of it. But the other question I had for you was, you mentioned a lot, like, I feel like the first thing you report on is if it's like a male or female, like I sense a male presence or I sense a female presence. Is that just that vibrational level that you were talking about? Or is that somehow, what is making you say that?
I really just get a sense of that. I do think it could be a vibrational sense. When you're in a room with people, if you close your eyes, you can really kind of tell the energy of the room. You can tell who's in there by how they feel. You can pick up, like you've walked into rooms probably before and noticed that if you feel uncomfortable, or if there's been some tension in the room prior to you walking in and you feel like you've walked into something that you shouldn't.
Okay. Yeah.
Those are the energies of the people that are in that room. And so to me, those vibrations come out even with multiple people. Like when we were all in as a group and everybody was talking and everybody had this big energy going on, it was really hard for me to focus in on one single person.
Sure.
Or one single spirit that might have been in the house. It was when it was quiet and I was able to really focus a little easier. I'm still kind of new at seeing and hearing things. And so I'm still trying to like know how to focus in on those particular assets. I feel more than I see or than I hear, but and I've learned to feel that there's just different vibrations. But I do think that the gender is a vibrational thing.
Okay. So interesting. And you're right that you can like pick up on a mood in a room, whether you realize it or not. If there's like tension or whatnot, I feel like you just have like a faster, deeper sense of that, which hits you more strongly than like a quote unquote normal person.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like we're just these complete like doofuses that are like completely ignorant.
Right.
Like not picking up on anything, and you're so much more sensitive than we are. You're able to kind of pick up on all those tiny little things,
little nuances. Yeah. Fascinating. All right, well, thank you. Okay, thank you. I feel satisfied now. All right.
So we can go on about the first night if you want to.
Please do. Please.
So our first night in the castle. So the room that I was in was on the 3rd floor, And so as you walk in, for those who haven't been there, as when you walk in, and the library is on your left, and to the right is like another little sitting room. The stairwell goes up, and it's a spiral staircase, big, beautiful spiral staircase. And the third floor landing, there's only 2 bedrooms and a bathroom up there. So when you get to the third floor landing, you're right outside the room that I was staying in. And then so that room is directly to the right. Kind of to the left and in front of the stairwell is the bathroom. And then directly across from the room I was in was another bedroom. So there was one person in that bedroom, and I shared a room with 2 other ladies. And so the first night, we didn't close the doors all the way, but we closed them enough that the light from the hallway, there was a little night light in the hallway, didn't like keep us up, because the light coming out from the windows was enough, because it never got dark.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
And so we all had eye masks, in case that, it was a problem, and we all had earbuds that we can listen to. But Bryn, I stayed with Bryn in the room, and she had a sound machine going that sounded like a fan. And so we had that going, and I'm laying there, and I didn't have the eye mask on. I didn't have anything going, because I thought, let me see if I can do this without all the gadgets. So I'm laying there, and it's hard for me to fall asleep, and I'm tossing and turning. And then I just start listening I'm trying to focus in on the sound machine that Bryn's got, but I keep getting distracted by this other noise. And it sounded like, at first, it sounded like somebody was playing a game on their phone. And I thought, who's up? And I looked, and it was like around midnight. And I knew all of us were exhausted, because we're all on jet lag. And so I would go out into the hallway, and I look down the stairwell, because you can see like all the way to the bottom of the stairwell from the door. I'm listening, and everything's quiet. Everything's like, there's no lights anywhere coming under from anybody's door. And everything was just quiet. Everybody was in bed. So I thought, okay, well, that's weird. So I go back and I lay back down, and I'm, trying to fall back asleep, and I hear it start again. And then I start listening to it and notice that it sounds like a recorder, like those little things that children use in school. And it's the same tune over and over again, but it's almost like they mess up. I can hear them mess up and start over. So it's the same tune going over and over again. And I thought, okay, that's weird. And it's faint enough that it sounds like it's coming from the lower level around the library. And so I go back out in the hallway, and I'm listening down the stairwell, and it stops. I'm like, all right, maybe it's just me. So I go back to bed, and I'm laying there, and I close the door back, and I hear it start up again, and it goes on and on and on. And I looked, these things went on until at least 3 a.m. It was at least 3 a.m. And then I heard footsteps, so the stairwell had carpet laid it down so you wouldn't hear. There were wooden stairs with the carpet things on them. And so I heard these muffled footsteps coming up the stairs, and then going down the stairs, and then coming back up the stairs. And I thought, okay, who's up, and why are they coming up here? Because it's just the 4 of us up here. We're all in our rooms. And then I heard a female voice on the stairwell. I couldn't hear what she said. It was muffled, because I thought, well, the door's closed, so I couldn't really hear what she was saying, but she was obviously talking to someone. So I thought, well, who's up? So I go back out out the door, and I look down the stairwell, and it's dark, it's quiet, nobody's up, there's nobody there, nobody's on the stairs. And so I go back in my bedroom, and I lay back down, and I hear it again, the talking, the walking, the music. And so finally, it was around 3, a little after 3. I go back out on the landing, and I look down the stairwell, and I just say, shh, guys, we're trying to sleep.
You're so calm. You're so calm. That would not have been my reaction at all. My reaction would have been, okay, I'm packing my bags. I'm going to sleep.
Getting the fuck out of here.
It wasn't scary at all. It was just, guys, we got to sleep. And even Bryn was tossing and turning, and she would ask me a couple of times, she's like, can you sleep? Are you awake? I'm like, no, I'm totally awake. And I said, can you hear anything? like going on out the door, and she's like, I don't hear anything. I got my ear, like because she was right beside that machine, and she
Right.
had her eye mask on. She's like, I don't hear anything. I'm like, all right, maybe it's just me then. But yeah, I heard it going on, and then after I kindly asked them to quiet down, they did, and I was able to fall asleep by 3:30. And
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God.
then the birds woke me
Ginger.
up at 4 a.m.
Oh my
I
God.
know it was. So we stayed there around the week of the summer solstice. So in Scotland at that time of year,
Yeah.
it doesn't get dark until
like 11:30.
yeah, like 11:30, midnight maybe, and then it starts to get light again about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. And for those few hours, it's not even completely pitch dark. So it's really hard to sleep if you haven't got
an
good
eye mask
curtains or an eye
something.
mask or something.
Yeah, it is very bizarre if you're not used to that. So I feel awful that you were so jet lagged and then got a whopping hour of sleep that same night because you're being harassed.
Some noisy ghosties.
Oh my goodness.
It is kind of cool though. I mean, I would have been terrified. But it is kind of cool as well.
No, it's not that bad.
I have to say out the gate that watching you react to all of the instances like in person so significantly decreased my fear of ghosts. First of all, it like solidified them, and I was not doubting anything in the first place. But number one, I was like, oh yeah, this shit is happening in real time, and I can see it. I mean, because there's just you're just not making, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing fictitious about this is happening, but you're so calm, and you're like analysis of like what's happening, what you see and feel and hear just completely changed my entire perspective. I really have to thank you a lot because I was like a crazy person freaked out about it. And now I just watched you, like you led such a good example. Like, okay, calm down. Like you're fine. And like, just sit and see if you can even experience any of it. And I just really transformed my like perception of like the scary factor. I don't know now if I was alone and you weren't there. I don't know that I could like carry on
in the castle, in that castle. I still don't know if I'd want to like walk around that castle
alone
at night on my own.
It really depends on where I think I would have gone. There was one night that I was going to go down and sit in the hallway outside the kitchen.
No.
And then I got about halfway down the stairs and I thought, this is probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
Even though what was down there, I don't think there was nothing in that entire castle that I felt malicious or scared of, but there was the presence that was down there in that hallway was a very, very strong, commanding kind of presence. And I don't think that they would have welcomed me down there at that time of night. So,
well, and you've had run-ins with not good ghosts also, like in our first podcast episode with you when you were recounting your Raleigh apartment ghost and having to actually move out because it was so demonic. And so
that was intense.
Yeah. So it's yucky knowing that there's also not awesome spirits that are in there. They weren't all kind of like sunshine and whatever. Now I feel like I'm not sensitive whatsoever, but I do have to say that corridor that you're talking about, that hallway. So there's like a little hallway that connects the castle main house, the main like body of the castle with the house that the like Leslie's actually live in right now. There's like a little corridor there, and that's where the kitchen is located. And in that stone corridor around the corner with all the clocks, it is always like 15 degrees colder right there. And I was always like, it must just be these big stones, but like there's big stones everywhere. So why are the other places in the house
the
not
clock
cold?
door kept opening every 5 minutes,
all day long.
The number of times that I went along and closed the clock door, and there wasn't necessarily a breeze coming. In fact, if a breeze ever came round, it came round the way that we'd close the door, not open it.
Right.
So it was opening against where there was any kind of breeze.
Yes.
And it would be open and I'd close it and then I'd walk into the kitchen, and then I'd
Yes.
come out and it would be open again.
Yeah, all day. And that clock was not working. So those gears and the pendulums that are inside that door that kept opening were not moving. So it wasn't like a working
and
clock.
These were grandfather.
Yes,
yeah, these were the grandfather clocks.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I meant to go around and count how many grandfather clocks was in
There was
Wardhill
a
Castle.
lot.
But there were 2 on either side of that, like that corridor door. There was like a little door area that connected. There were 2 clocks on either side that were matching, and they were big grandfather clocks. And no, they didn't work for whatever reason. But it was only that one clock that the door kept opening.
Yes.
And then we were all closing the door.
All of us.
So what was happening was we would come down, and the corridor was behind the stairwell. So we would come down for coffee or tea in the morning, and whoever would come in would close the clock door, go in the kitchen. The next person would come in. We didn't know until probably it was like a couple of days in that we were all closing the clock door.
I started talking to it. I was like, could you just keep it closed for a little while now, please? Like, this is getting a little bit tedious.
Yeah, and I don't think you noticed it, but the day that you kept telling it to stay closed or not to open the door, and it stayed closed. Like,
oh, did it?
Yeah, it stayed closed. But the grandfather clock that was by the entry door, that door started opening.
Oh God. Honestly,
you actually vaguely remember that.
Because I grabbed you because we were leaving out. Like, everybody was out on the patio, and I looked over and the door was open. Yeah. And that was after we'd had the conversation that you had said, that the door was, you had asked him not to open it. I looked over and it was open, and I started just laughing. And I grabbed Karen because she was closer to the door. And
I remember this now.
I said, "Is this clock door been opening too?" And she's like, "No." And I said, "Well, come look." And you came through the door and you were like, "Oh my God."
He was messing with us. Oh my
God. Yeah. He was like, "Oh, I've been told to keep that one closed. Yeah. So I'll just like, open the other one then.
I'm just gonna fuck with this one instead." Oh my God, he's so cheeky.
Cheeky goes.
Yeah, he could have if you'd gone down there in the middle of the night, he could have grabbed your bum or something. Might have been a cheeky ghost.
Gosh, my heart is like beating fast in retrospect. It's like so weird. You don't realize all those things that are happening. They just, you can brush them off or not pay attention. But in retrospect, I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, there was a lot happening.
Well, and we tried, there were several of us that were trying to like debunk that clock downstairs. Because once we started all talking about it, we were trying to think, okay, well, can it vibrate open somehow?
Right.
Is something there, but it was on a stone floor against the stone walls that don't vibrate. They're 3 feet thick.
Right.
So there's no vibration there. The clock wasn't working.
Right.
And then when we did keep the front door open, like Lucy was saying, the draft that would come in was coming in from the opposite end the door could open. So it actually should have closed the door.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So we really did try to debunk a lot of the stuff.
And the other side of it was really sheltered because it just led to that little stairway that went up and like that little snug sitting room.
Yeah.
So there was nothing there causing a draft that way. But actually the door of the way that it was opening, it was against a corner of corridor. So it was set into a corner.
Right.
And the door was opening from the inside of the corner, so there wasn't even like a draft there. And because I tried to figure that out as well.
We all did.
And it wasn't like we weren't like opening and shutting doors in places that would have like caused a bang for it.
There were no doors to open and close.
No,
in that area. There was
No. nothing there that protected little nook there, which is why it was weird. It was so cold there too, because that whole area was more or less the same. Like it was all kind of snug and airproof right there. So why was just that part freezing and you walk 2 feet out and it's like a different temperature?
But then that's the corridor that I heard the footsteps
right
come down.
That's where we both heard them. Our very first like 5 minutes on our very first day ever setting up. We were like, what the fuck was that? Did you hear that? I did. That was exactly where we were. It's fascinating.
It sounded like they were coming round the corridor and they were about to like appear in front
exactly
of us, and then nothing appeared.
Where the clock is. Exactly that same exact spot, which is so interesting.
And I wouldn't be surprised if at some point what is the library now was connected to that corridor.
Well,
Because
it still is. I mean, it is.
No,
Right.
what I mean is that so in Castle Fraser, where I used to work, there is one room that has a room and then a corridor that comes around it like an L shape. And that's a really spooky area of that castle. I don't like going in that area. That used to be a big room. And then at a later point, like Victorian times maybe or something, they made it into a room and a corridor to make it like cozier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so they could connect one side of like one stairwell of the castle to the other. So who's to know? I mean, it would be interesting to see like older
plans
of the house, but it almost seems to me like it could have possibly been a larger entranceway at that in when it was first built, and then it got enclosed off to make the library. So if that was the case, then that whole room would have been like an open space or something. That I could imagine when that castle was first built, that you would come in and there's a stairway in front of you, and it would have been like an open thing that went straight through.
I got it right.
Yeah I can totally see that. What I found interesting though was after everybody discovered we were all closing the door, the first time I went back there, because it is the only way into the kitchen from the front. And so as soon as I stepped into that hallway, I felt like the very commanding presence there, that it was very male, very masculine, and very I'm in charge kind of feeling, which is where you heard the footsteps and everything too. And when we were talking to, and I cannot remember her name now, the caretaker, the lady that was there,
Beverly.
Yeah. So when we were talking to her later, she was telling us that, the caterers and housekeepers were also closing that clock door all the time. And so it couldn't have been any of us that was opening and trying to be
right. Tricksters. Yeah.
They constantly experienced that too. And when I told her that I felt that was a commanding presence that was there, she said, it's really interesting that you say that. She said, because, during World War I and World War II, the castle was taken by the government as an army hospital.
Right.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I know, I did too.
And she said that they have heard like boots on the ground, like boot footsteps in that corridor, and then right outside the kitchen, there was a section that was out there that had been torn down at one point, but they heard like boots going back and forth, almost like a marching kind of thing. And so I really wonder if that was, one of the leftovers from the hospital.
I wonder if it was one of the people who died in the hospital, like as a patient, or was it somebody that worked, one of the commanders in the army who worked there, and then who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
God, it really is like an episode of Ghosts, isn't it? With like your army guy and your like lady of the manor, and next will be like there's an ancient like Neanderthal in that upstairs bathroom.
I know. I really did get, by the end of the week though, and hearing all your different encounters, that really came to life. If you're listening, you don't know the show. It's a show. There's a UK version, which is far superior. And then there's a lame, like American copycat version of the show called Ghosts. And it's so good. Highly recommend. But it's just really a cast full of ghosty characters. And that's how I felt. I was like, and that's why I think it wasn't scary too. Yeah. It was like, no, they're all just here. And like
turned it into a comedy.
Yeah, it really did. And that show definitely helped like turn my negative into a positive as well.
Because you wonder, are they talking about us? Are they all over in the corner talking about us? And
I know. And like trying to mess with you, since you were the one who like could sense like them.
It is even more like an episode of Ghosts, because we're all standing there totally oblivious of what's, and then there's this one person that like can, see or feel it all going on, there's somebody right there.
Yeah.
There's somebody right there.
You're the main character. So what about, sorry. Yeah. Oh, I was going to ask you just on, cause I know there's so much in the bedrooms, cause we walked together through each room and I had you do a reading. You were so patient with me, but we didn't really talk anything about more of the downstairs, probably cause that's where the main bulk of the human commotion was happening. But was there any other spots outside of the corridor and that front library that you felt? What about there's a beautiful, enormous yellow room. I think it's not the drawing room. Yeah, the drawing room. Did you feel anything in there?
Not really. Not anything specific. I think that was, there were always a group of us in there.
Yeah.
So I didn't
I was
really
wondering.
get anything major in there.
Too much noise.
Or in the dining room. Lucy and I did have an experience on the last day.
Yeah, we did. That was so exciting.
So we can kind of segue into that one. So it's our last night there, is our last dinner, and so the dining room is kind of off. It's a long room with this huge dining table that all 13 of us, right?
15.
That we all fit around this huge giant table, and then at one end, so like on the left side, if you were sitting on on this end looking across the table and the windows, on this side was where the catering came in and out. That was the section that was connected to that door. They could get to the kitchen. On the opposite end, there was these huge giant doors with this ginormous key that we could keep open for a nice breeze and some sunlight. I
don't think originally it would have been a dining room. I think that was some sort of entrance hallway, possibly for the servants to get into the kitchen or something like that.
That makes a lot of sense.
It was some kind of side entrance, and I think originally it was a hallway.
Yeah, it makes sense because it looked like a hallway.
That's an exit door too. Like that. Yeah, that's how you get out. So, anyways,
but there was this giant door that we kept open, and so, we just finished dinner, and I saw Tara across the table from me. I saw her stand up, and she says, "I'll be right back." And this is the time that we were, kind of dispersing a little bit, and we were going to get art supplies, and people were just kind of meandering around. So she got up and walked around the table, around the backside. So Lucy is over on the end table, at the end of the table. She walks around Lucy and she leaves. Well, then I see Amy, who's sitting on my side of the table, a couple people down. She also stands up and says, "I'll be back in a minute." And she leaves. Well, I see somebody come in from behind me, because the main door from the house to get into the dining room is behind me. And I look around and I see Amy come in. And I watch her. I've got my eye on her, and Lucy's still, standing at her spot, like where she was sitting. And so I'm looking directly at Amy, and I see someone else come in behind me and go around Amy and Lucy. And then when they get in front of that door that's open, and when they get in front of the sunlight, they kind of disappear. Well, I thought it was Tara coming back. And so I look over where Tara's usually sitting, and she's not there. And I look back around, and I catch my eyes catch Lucy's eyes, and she's looking as confused as I am for a minute.
It was so confusing.
Yeah. And she looks at me and she's like, "What was that?" And I said, "Well, I thought it was Tara, but it's not." And then she's like, "Did I just see a ghost?"
I was like, "Yeah, made my week. That made my week."
And I was like, "Damn it, I want to see a ghost too."
I saw what I thought, like, out of the corner of my eye was a person, like one of the women, walking round the back of Ginger and round the back of the tables. But like nobody came further, and then I got confused, and when I looked up I saw Ginger looking at me, and the two of us were like, did we just see the same thing? It was so weird.
Yeah, that was really exciting. And Lucy, I loved your reaction. You were just so happy and so excited. You were like, "Oh,
and the thing is, I didn't see like a person, but just like how you said, where you feel the energy, I saw kind of a shadowy thing, and felt you know, if you're sitting at a dining table with people, you feel the energy of the person walking
Right. You know,
round.
people are moving around.
You're aware of the movement of a person. And that's what I was. I was aware of the movement of a person coming around the table, but there wasn't a person coming around the table. It was so bizarre.
Oh, it sounds crazy.
Yeah. And what I saw a figure coming through, but all I remember seeing was like the shoulder area and the side of the head, like as they were coming through. And when I see, most of the time, it's almost like a distortion in the air. So it's a figure. You can see that there's a figure, but there's nothing solid. There's nothing, there's no detail that's there. I can see some colors. Sometimes I can see a little bit of pattern. I do remember that particular person, they were people at one point. So that particular person that was walking by, I remember the color of the top was more of a almost like, and here's the artist in me, it was more like a yellow ochre.
Okay.
It was that mustardy yellow, almost orange, and dark hair, which was why I thought it was Tara, because Tara had on a shirt that had these little yellow flecks in it.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't but a few minutes after, like you and I had that little moment, that Tara came back. I was like, see, it wasn't Tara.
It wasn't Tara. Yeah, I think it's so surreal that when you're sitting in a room, like I can't see ghosts, so they're just invisible, but you're also in a room with people who are actively, because I was right in that exact same space with you guys when that happened. And I'm like, it's just, it was mind blowing being like, these things are so swarming around us. Some people can see them. The rest of us can't. Like, that's
I was
crazy.
so glad that you saw it as well, and that you clocked me seeing it, because it's like validation, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like we both saw the same thing at the same time.
Wild. It's totally wild.
Well, and I loved talking to Beverly, because she was really excited. She would come and she's like, well, what have you, what was your experiences? And then it was validating what she and the other staff were also experiencing.
Can you tell that story about the staff who saw the reflection? Because that is crazy creepy.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so the kitchen, I loved the kitchen. It was so cozy and homey.
Yeah.
And as we were standing around, so Linda, who's from not Linda, Debbie,
Thomas,
who's from London, she and I and Amy a lot of times, and Robin would sit in the kitchen. We were the first ones usually down there, and we're all sitting and talking about the night before and that kind of stuff. And as the conversation would get more animated and more like happy, like if we were giggling about something or laughing about something, the light over the kitchen, like over the little island area, the light would flicker a little bit. And so, you try to not think about it at first. It's almost like, okay, well, we're in a 900-year-old castle. Of course, things are going to flicker and things. Right. But it would flicker at certain times. And then there was one day, it was just Debbie and I in there. And I heard a knock. Like there was a little door beside the stove.
Like into crawl space or something. Yes, right.
Yeah, well, we opened it to see what was back there, because I heard a knocking on that door.
Coming from inside of there? Oh,
I couldn't tell if it was inside or outside. It was on that door.
That's all covered.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, so, and Debbie was talking when I heard it, and I looked around and I didn't see anybody like coming in or around sometimes the caterer would come in the morning and I didn't see them. So I told her, I was like, did you hear that knocking? And she said, no, because she was talking. I said, it came from over there at that little door. And she said, let's see what's behind it. And so she walked over and opened it, and it crockery. Like it's like a little cupboard.
There was one time that I was in the kitchen with Beverly, and the lights were flickering, and they started flickering as she was telling me that the lights flickered in the kitchen. She was like, the lights flicker in this kitchen sometime, And then 2 seconds later, the light started flickering.
Right.
It was almost like it was doing it on
Right.
cue. It was so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we even went around to the other door where the caterers would come in and out to see if they were knocking, like if there was anybody over there knocking on that door. And we were the only two downstairs. We were the only two people that were in that whole area at the castle. But when Beverly came back, we were telling her about it, and she said, "Oh yeah, the lights will flicker if we're in here." She said, "A lot of times we go in here as we're cleaning and stuff." She said, "We're just cutting up and having fun." And she said, "I really think that whoever's in here with us has a sense of humor." She said, "Because as we start laughing and as we start getting more animated," she said, "the lights will flicker faster."
And that's what happened with you guys too.
Yeah.
Oh,
And she's like, "It's
God.
almost like they're laughing
with you.
with us."
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so weird.
No.
Yeah,
And I wouldn't think anything of it. The whole light flickery thing wouldn't connect with me had I not been on the when we were doing our self-guided tour of Krathus, and I caught on my video
The lights
the
flickering.
freaking lights like flashing super bright while I'm recording it. And by the way, no one could see that with their naked eye. I was standing in that room and like the light did not flash. But like in my camera, the light completely, it was like someone turned it on it. And lights don't like turn on extra bright. That's not like a thing that lights do. Like what even is that? And I caught it. I uploaded it on Instagram. That's like clear as day 2 times. And it was in the like haunted areas that were like, this is where people see. I'm like, that is fucking crazy. It's like, it doesn't sound it when you're like, oh, the lights are flickering. It doesn't sound like anything. But when you actually sit and be like, no, there's like some weird force that is here doing it purposefully, which is very different than it just happening coincidentally, crazy. But can you talk about the reflection? Because that is the craziest thing in the whole world.
Oh, that kind of spooked me a little bit.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting. I would have loved to have talked to the lady who it actually happened to. So it was I believe it's one of the housekeepers. She was polishing the silver. And so she was sitting in the kitchen, polishing the silver. I think it was like a butter knife. You're polishing something and you look up, you kind of shine it in the light to make sure you've got the spots off. And as she's doing that, she says she saw a male face in the knife that was like over her shoulder.
Oh God, that gets me. That gets me.
And Bev said she turned around and didn't obviously see anything. And she looked back, and saw him in the knife. And she's like, all right, I know you're here.
My God. Hey, ghosty friend over my shoulder. No way. No thanks.
Yeah. And this was the same lady who saw there was like a little place in the wall that you could kind of see through outside, like a little crack almost. And she said she saw eyes.
No.
I didn't know about that one.
No, that is gonna make me. I'm not gonna sleep
shit
tonight
right there.
thinking about that. That freaks the hell out of me. That's like something out of Doctor Who.
I don't like that.
Well, Beverly said she told them, she's like, it's okay, you can come in. I'm not going to bother you. I'm not going to hurt you. You can come sit with me. And she said that the eyes disappeared. And she said, and then it wasn't that long later that she felt someone in the room with her.
Oh.
And I don't know if this is the same lady who she talks to them all the time. Like she cleans in the castle. And so apparently she comes in and she plays music while she's, dusting and cleaning. Mm-hmm. And she says when she turns her music off, she hears whistling.
Like they're whistling along to the, I wonder if it's the same recorder that you heard. If it's the same person. She said it was
whistling. Okay. Yeah, I asked her about the recorder and she said no, it was whistling.
See, and this is how I know it's legit, because it's like the nuances between a whistle and a recorder. When people are like, no, it wasn't that. I know what I like. That's, you guys are all so definitive about exactly what it is that you heard. It's like there's no doubt. Oh, it's crazy. That's crazy town.
Tell us about some of the bedroom ghosts, because that was super interesting.
That was really interesting. And by the way, I uploaded one to YouTube. I don't think I made it public. I'll make it public and put it on the blog, because that one where Lucy, Ginger, and myself were in the room and that girl was like showing her dress to you.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
you were like, it was like you were communicating with them in real time. That
Yeah, that was really
video
interesting.
is amazing.
That it's rare that things like that ever happen to me. So a lot of times, I can kind of sit in a space and just kind of close my eyes and feel what I feel in there. And then, sometimes I can ask them, is there anything you want to show me? And in that particular room, I remember specifically, I heard the words in my head. I heard party and dresses. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I could tell, they really loved the parties that they used to have in the castle. And so I remember seeing hair. Like I didn't see detailed of a face. I couldn't tell a face, but I could tell it was a young girl, almost like a teenager. I could see her hair up and little gold pins put in her hair. And she had on this really pretty white dress that Lucy and I figured out it was in the Regency period.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucy, there is a dress similar to hers in the National Museum. I saw it. There's a exhibit right now in the museum on fashion.
Okay.
And there's a dress that's similar to what she had on in there. It didn't have the gold pieces to it, but it was the white dress that I saw.
In the National Museum of Scotland?
Yeah. Because
Oh,
I went on one of my last days in Scotland. I went to the museum and looked around and I saw that and I was like, oh my God, there's the dress.
Gosh.
Did you go and see the fairy coffins? The little fairy coffins? The Arthur C.
No.
coffins? They're in the National Museum of Scotland.
See, there was so much in there and so much in there. And I spent hours walking around that museum. But yeah, it was kind of.
You didn't happen to take a picture of that, did you?
I did.
Can you send it to me?
Because I want to do a drawing of her.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you send it to me so I can?
Yeah.
I want to see too.
Yeah.
I'll put it on our blog as well because that would be really.
Yeah. And I took a picture of the clock in the hallway that we were talking about earlier.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. I'll send you some of the pictures that I have in the stairwell and things like that. So I'll send you what I've got.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Thank you, Ginger.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so tell us about this girl with the dress.
So the girl with the dress. So I see her hair, I see the pins in her hair, and then she's showing me pieces. So I see, the top part of the dress. So there's little puffy sleeves and it comes down like this. And she has on, it's white, but it's trimmed in gold. So there's little gold trim in the sleeves and around the neckline. And then there's a gold sash that she was very proud of because I remember her turning and showing me the back where it was laced up the back in the gold, like sash almost, and tied like in the back. And then she went down to the whole bottom of the dress. And then I remember seeing, she would like lift the dress up a little and showed me her shoes. And she had on little gold lame shoes. And she did a twirl and was gone. And it was just,
I love that.
It was just amazing.
Well, and watching you because I recorded this with my phone and I recorded.
And I had no idea that you were doing.
I know. Well, I was trying to not be super obnoxious. So I'm just watching Lucy's face in the camera and Ginger, and you're just speaking very quietly and relaying kind of out loud, softly what you just told to us, but in this very it was in real time. So it was like, as she was showing you each individual aspect of her dress. I mean, it was felt just surreal. Mm-hmm. It just felt absolutely surreal. But what I was trying to figure out is because you're saying she's showing me this thing. I'm like, where? Where is she showing you? Is she holding up her dress? Is she just in your mind's eye? How is she in the room with you? Are you in is it dark around you? What are you visualizing?
Yeah, it's a great question.
During that,
I was only seeing what she was showing me. So it was in my mind's eye. So I had my eyes closed.
Right.
I remember I was doing like this.
Yes. Holding your nose.
Right.
And funneling ghosts.
But it was, I see flashes of pictures.
Okay.
And I remember seeing, I don't remember seeing anything around her. So it may have been dark around her. And she was just showing me what she wanted me to see.
Did you see her face at all? Okay.
I did not.
So you were just seeing the clothes. Did you see her hands?
Her clothes.
holding the items up? I mean, it was
Sort of,
sounded
but
like,
not really.
okay.
It wasn't a focus. It wasn't a main thing she wanted me to see. So, I mean, obviously, as she was showing me, and her pulling the hem of the dress up a little,
right.
Obviously there were hands there, but I don't recall really focusing in on that. I was
Right.
more focused in on what she was showing me.
Okay.
So yeah, there's vague pieces. She wasn't concerned about showing me her face, and I didn't. I try to respect what they want to show me and just kind of take it with that. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't happen to me a lot, but it has happened a couple of times. And
yeah,
so incredible.
It is incredible. Well, we went through probably 6 of the rooms probably together, probably all of the, maybe even, I don't think we hit all of them, but we hit a lot of them. And each room had at least like a vibe, like male or female.
Yeah. But tell us about the lechy guy.
I know.
So, that was interesting.
That was Debbie's room. Wasn't that Debbie's
room?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the gold room, the girl in the gold room was the most.
That was in Debbie's room.
Biggest experience. That was Debbie's room.
Okay.
That was the biggest experience. I mean, that was the most vivid one that I got. The other ones just had little vibes to it, and I didn't really get a lot of words in a lot of the rooms. I got a lot of feelings.
But can I just say too, because I was recording you. So this is what I thought was interesting, just watching you and going through your experiences. One, you were talking about like feeling the sensation, like feeling, I should actually go back and I should have watched these back before we hopped on today, but I was filming a lesson. But you were talking about like feeling like waves, like you were describing almost like the speed of the vibration itself, like fast or slow, like your body was moving, and some your hands were shaking. So like the vibration was literally like vibrating your own person. And then another thing that you were describing was like things that you're hearing. So like your ear was ringing like a bell, and like it was really loud in some rooms, and it was like just barely detectable in others. So using like your 5 senses, I mean, it seems like you hear, a lot of times if it's not like a voice, but even just being in a room with like some sort of presence, you're able to detect like a sound, an actual physical vibration with touch, right? Sometimes seeing, sometimes not seeing. This is so weird. Can you ever smell things?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Yeah. That's a thing that, I've
been
able to do.
Did you smell anything in the castle?
Not really. I don't remember ever smelling anything distinctive in there. I feel like there was one day that we were talking about a smell coming from upstairs, like all of us were, and we couldn't figure out what it was, but I can't really
remember what it was.
It wasn't
so many things.
Yeah. Okay. There were so many things. It wasn't anything that really stuck out to me at that point. But
does the ear ringing, because you didn't mention that every time, and even in the room where like you saw so much, you didn't mention that you're ringing at all. So it seems like these things are like picking and choosing the way that you can pick up on their presence in different ways. Is that like a fair assessment of kind of what's happening?
Yeah, pretty much. I think that I think it really just depends on the spirit themselves and what they can actually do. I know that the light flow, they do things with electricity a lot because I think it's easy to manipulate that vibration. In a room when it's quiet, what I hear, if I don't hear any words or anything like that, my ear does ring like it can be unbearable sometimes and Lucy, I think, experienced the same thing in several of the rooms where it's just a high pitched.
Is it like a tinnitus ring?
Yeah, it's like a high pitched squeal that comes in your ear, and it's really hard to decipher like where it's coming from, and then it comes and goes.
Fascinating.
Kind of depending on, I think, what they're trying to like send you. Like, I think they just wanted you to know that they're there. They just want to be acknowledged.
They're trying to reach out. Do you think?
It could be, and they just don't know how. I don't know. I'm not that well versed in it, so I couldn't really confidently say.
That's
But
just
they're
also
clearly,
why messing with you.
yeah, they're clearly aware that we're there. Do you think?
Oh, I think so.
Well, because
least
there's
most
some
of them.
theories that some encounters like this could be almost like not a parallel universe, but like kind of time
Dimension
or whatever, like dimensions, kind of just so somebody living their life in this dimension, someone living their life in this dimension, and within the same area in space, and then it just every so often the veil between the two slips, and they come across. And if that was the case, then you wouldn't be aware, you wouldn't want to try and communicate or manipulate, because it's just a glitch, if you like. But
I don't think the lady on the stairs was very aware, and she stayed on the stairwell, I think, and Tara actually saw her one day. She was asking me, she came down, we were in the kitchen again, and she came in and she said, so did you see the lady on the stairs? I said, no, I just heard her that one night. And she said, well, I just came in, and she came around the bottom of the stairwell on the first floor and saw someone going up the stairs. And she said, as I looked up, she said, I saw the back of a white gown going up the stairwell. And she said, and then when she got in front of the window, it kind of disappeared. And so she feels like she saw the lady on the stairs going up the stairs.
And didn't you, I do want to talk about the sketchy guy in the run room, but you also saw another person, ghosty friend, on the stair, on the top of the stairs as well, right? Right outside your door. Remember, didn't you see feet?
Oh, yeah. There were a couple of times that I saw feet.
Oh, really? I thought there was only one. Tell us about the other one.
I totally forgot about that, Karen. So I was standing in the doorway. I was going to go take a shower. So I was standing in the doorway of our room. And the stairwell would have been like right next to me. And I was standing
on the landing
closer to the bathroom area. So kind of in the doorway. And I was talking to Bryn and Debbie, who were inside the bedroom. And I felt somebody kind of saw the corner of my eye, somebody come up the stairwell, and I felt them standing beside of me. And I looked over and I just kind of looked down and I saw feet.
Oh my God.
I love this one.
Black shoes. I completely forgot about this. They were black shoes with like white
stockings,
socks,
you said, right?
Maybe. Yeah. And I heard a male voice very clearly beside of me go, hello, ladies.
I love that.
He's like, what's up? And his old timey. Now, did he have an
castle
accent?
full of ladies?
I know. Did he have an accent?
It was hello, ladies. And it was so quick that I didn't really detect like.
That's my favorite one. That's my favorite encounter. Hello, ladies.
Hello, ladies.
Stockings. Like, what's up? I love it.
But so I stopped talking at that moment. And Bryn and Debbie were both like, what was that? What was that?
Oh, did they hear it too?
I don't think they heard it.
Or I
was mid-sentence.
Oh, okay. So they were like, what's hello?
Well, and they saw me looking to the side. And I just stopped for a second and they were both like, what is that? And I said, well, he said, hello, ladies. And both of them were like, hello, how are you?
Hello. I'm just about to have a shower. Would you like to come with me?
No, stay downstairs. But no, it was, but no, they were both like, oh, hello.
Oh my God, I bet I would have been the same. That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Great. I totally forgot about that one.
That's my favorite one as well.
I know, me too. Hello, ladies. Yeah, literally the castle's stuffed with women. And then we do absolutely have to talk about the sketchy guy. What room was that one in? Do you remember? I have that one on film actually, I don't think I do. Because that was actually very quick.
It was very fast. I was ready to get out of that room. It was my goodness, whose room was that?
I know. Maybe it was Linda's. I think it might have been Linda's.
It was one of the rooms on the first floor.
I think it was Linda's.
Yeah, I think it was Linda. But anyway,
the butterfly tapestry over the bed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Because I was standing, it's a very small room.
Yes.
And so I was standing.
Yes. Well, the three of us are smashed in there. That's little corner of the bedroom. Yeah. And then you proceed to have a conversation with this guy is what happened. Just so everyone, just so we're clear. And
it was very interesting. So I'm standing it kind of in front of the bed. There's like a little stool that's there. And then the bed. And I'm looking at the tapestry because I loved that tapestry. I actually did that tapestry on the back of the portrait that we did.
It's so pretty.
It's beautiful, so isn't it?
And so you guys are standing like next to me, kind of in the corner beside of me inside the room. And you know, I'm trying to focus. I've got my eyes closed and I'm trying to I know that there's someone there, and I knew it was a male presence. And I'm standing there going, okay, what is this? And I feel hands kind of on my shoulder, because I end up looking over to you to see where you guys are, because it felt like real hands on my shoulder.
Oh,
and I felt this little nudge toward the bed. The bed and the stool, and I heard sit. And I remember saying, you know,
no, thank you. Yep.
No, I'm not gonna sit. I don't want to sit. We're not gonna be here long. And I felt the little push again. It wasn't a massive push. It was just like a little.
That's so gross.
It is disgusting, isn't it?
Yeah. It makes it worse. Worse almost, actually.
Yeah. And it was like this little encouragement of, you know,
come on.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Just sit. And I remember saying, no, it's fine. I really don't want to. And then I felt a more
aggressive push,
aggressive kind of push. Not really aggressive. Aggressive is a little bit too much, but it was a more
firm
would be a nice word. A more firm push toward the bed, and I heard lay down. I was like, oh no, thank you, it's okay.
Oh,
yeah,
we'll
get out.
Was the same guy as the Hello Ladies, or a different guy?
Totally different vibe. Totally different vibration.
God, this place has so many ghosts in it.
Yeah, and I feel like there was like a different one per each room. Like every room had like its own.
They were everywhere. They were absolutely everywhere.
So from the outside looking at that, I could tell. I mean, you were responding to this presence just like you. I felt like I was looking at you, and I could see the conversation, even though I would only see one of you. But it was like, you could just see how instantly uncomfortable you were. And you were trying to be polite. You're like, no, all right. No, thank you. Like, I'm going to be polite. And then it was like, no, thanks. Like, and it's like a little bit like, as he's getting more firm, you're getting more firm. And then finally it was like too much. And you're like, nope, I'm not going to do it. Like, we're leaving. Like, this is too much. Not like that was from an outsider's perspective. It was like, we could read that entire scenario, even though we only saw half.
Yeah.
It's so
like
bizarre.
We could hear one half of the conversation,
I know,
but still imagine what the other half was.
I know, but that's also what made it so genuine. Like you were not making the shit up. Like you're sitting there, and because every room was completely different. Like every room was like instantly like you having to deal with these people and these presences, and they were all so vastly different from one another. I just thought
face it, if somebody wanted to make stuff up, they'd be going in and saying, oh, there's a woman in here called, you know, Mary, and she was born in 1757. And you know, you'd like spin a tale, wouldn't you? But like, you're not doing that, Ginger. We totally.
I mean, I never thought that you were making up, but just watching it was like, oh my God, like
it's very different.
It was interesting. Yeah. I mean, you were like genuinely interacting with this guy. So.
Oh, sorry, I keep yawning. It's that time of day. You're not boring me at all. I'm absolutely fascinated.
It's riveting. And I'm trying to think, I know, were there any other major instances at Wardhill?
There was one that Robin and I both experienced.
Oh, yes.
I don't know that I know this one.
So this happened the night of solstice. So it was really super warm upstairs that day, and we had decided, because the night before it was really warm upstairs and it was hard to get comfortable, and you know, all of our blankets ended up in the floors just because we were pushing things off.
It was too hot.
And so we had decided that we were going to leave our bedrooms bedroom doors open. So her bedroom.
Oh,
was
that's right. I
directly
forgot
across.
about this. Yes.
Yeah. Right directly across from ours. So we were like facing each other. And so my bed in the room was right beside the door. So the foot of my bed was right up against the door.
And just to be
so when you
clear,
open it.
to be clear for people listening. So Ginger is in the one room to the, when you go up the stairs, there's two bedrooms there's one bedroom to the right. There's one bedroom to the left that face each other. And then the
Right.
bathroom is dead in front of you. So Ginger
Right.
is in the bedroom on the right and Robin is across the hall in the bedroom
And it's quite
on the left.
attic-y up there. I would imagine it would have been servants' quarters or something. It's quite
it almost felt like a little kid's room. Like
yeah, it could have been for
like mine was a
children,
little-
actually. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It could have easily been children's rooms. Yeah.
Okay. So you and Robin have your doors open because it's too hot to have them closed.
Right. And so the way her bed is facing the door. So if
right.
she is lying in bed, she can look directly into our room.
Right.
And so I can't see into her room because the foot of my bed is right in front of the door.
Right.
So it's my bed, Bryn, and then Debbie is laying this way.
Right.
And so those two are asleep and I'm lying in bed and I'm texting my husband because it's what I did every night. And so I'm sitting there and I've got the phone up like this and I'm texting and I see a figure come through the door. I come from the door, like from the hallway, and go into the middle of our room and then turn around and go back out. And I even texted him. I was like, something just walked in the room.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So you're so not nonchalant about it all. Something just walked in the room. I'd be like, something just walked in the room.
We had been talking about these experiences. He's like, what happened today? And so I was telling him, and I was like, and actually, somebody just walked into our room. Well, they turned around and they walked back out. Well, it wasn't but a few seconds later, I saw two of them walk in, go into the middle of the room, and they turned around and walked back out. And I thought, what's going on? And so I finished my conversation with him and I just kind of laid there with my hand, like I took the phone like this and I'm laying. And I'm watching multiples come in the room. One of them actually did like a little twirl in the middle of the room. And they walked back out and they were going in and out,
No way.
for several hours. It was almost like 2:30 in the morning. And I was still watching them going in and out of the room.
Okay, wait. Don't go any further yet. When you say you're watching multiple, are you seeing shadowy figure? We need some more
that's
information.
exactly what I wanted to
like
know.
what
does it
how
look
much
like?
can you see?
Describe
Faces? Is it like cloudy things? Is it just wavy air?
They're very
What
cloudy. Yeah, they're very cloudy. So it's, the room is semi-dark.
Yeah.
We've got the light coming in from the window, because
it never gets dark. Yes.
Never gets dark. It actually looks a lot like your headband. That's what the sky looks like.
What?
For me.
The sky?
For me, the sky.
Or the guy?
So that's
okay.
The light that's coming in the room has got that color.
Okay.
So the room is not entirely dark.
Right.
Yeah.
Which even makes it scarier.
Right. And I can see enough in the room that, but what they look like is just, it looks like a distortion, and the distortion is in the figure, in the shape of a figure.
Oh.
I could see like where the head would be and the shoulders.
Right.
Oh my
And a couple of times I could see their arms, but it was just it wasn't like super quick, but it also wasn't super slow. They were
walking.
Yeah, they were coming in. They would stand in the middle of the room for a second. They'd turn around and they'd walk back out. I did take a picture of the room.
You did?
At one point. I did.
Yeah, you better. Why wait? And also
I think
I'm like, let me see if I can pick something up. And so it was my cell phone, so it wasn't like the best picture ever. But when there was a group of them, they came in and they were all standing in the middle of the room, kind of at the foot of between mine and Bryn's bed.
Oh my God.
And so, which directly was across from Debbie. So I took the picture, and then the next day when I looked at it, you can see half of the room was very clear in the picture. Like you could see the dresser, you could see like the edge of Debbie's, like the blanket.
Yeah.
You can see everything very crisp. And then all of a sudden, everything else was blurred.
Okay, you need to send that picture to me ASAP.
Yeah, I'll send it. I sent it to Bryn and Debbie because you can kind of see Debbie's legs, but it's all blurred, so it's really kind of.
Oh, that's so
There's a very
spooky.
distinct, like between the room. It was really an interesting picture. I didn't capture like
what you were
the things
seeing
that I
with your
wanted
eye.
to capture.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you think then that they're aware of each other, these ghosts?
These, I think, were aware of each other because they were having a party.
They were hanging out together.
They were going back and forth. Yeah, they were enjoying themselves.
But do you think that some of them aren't aware of each other?
I don't know. I do think that they may not be. I don't know. It's hard for me to say.
And I remember in the morning, Robin saying too, but I'm not specifics like your specifics, but she was like, oh my gosh, yeah, we had the doors open, they were walking back and forth and keeping us up all night long. And I was like, wait, what? Can you remember specifically what she was saying? Because I think I was like too like busy freaking out at the news that I didn't ask her very like pointed questions at the time. What did she say?
Well, it was funny. I didn't tell a lot in the group things that were happening because I didn't want to like freak people out.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I kind of kept a lot of things. But there were times like first thing in the morning, people knew I was in the kitchen getting coffee every morning. So they would come in and it's like, all right, what did you see last night?
Yeah.
Or like, what happened last night?
Right.
When they would tell me anything that they may have experienced in the night. But yeah, I was down there getting coffee and Robin came down. We were the only two in the kitchen for a minute. And she came through and she was pouring her coffee and she's like, did you get any sleep last night? And I said, well, I did after I fell asleep. And she's like, was it around like 2:30, 3 o'clock? Like, yeah. And she's like, yeah. She said, they were having a parade between our doors.
Oh my
Which
goodness.
is exactly what you were experiencing.
So again, you've got that validation there.
Yeah, I hadn't said a thing to anybody about it. She was the first person I saw that morning.
She said it first.
Like, yeah, she said they were parading between the rooms. And I said, wait a minute, what did you see? And she said they were coming from the inside of my room, like at the bottom, like the foot of her bed. Oh. And she said they would go into y'all's room. And she said I could see them go into the room and then turn around and come back out. And she said they were going back and forth all night.
Oh my God.
So she was seeing the exact same thing that I was seeing.
Yeah, I remember that. And she was like, they were not happy that those doors were open. Now, the very last night, Lucy and I felt so bad that you guys were like sweltering up there. So we ran and got big, gigantic fans for your room. So the very last night you had 2 huge fans in your room and so did Robin, like big, giant industrial ones. Did you keep your door open that very last night or were the fans enough so you closed them?
But that was the only night that whole week that we kept our doors open. After that, we didn't, because this was like Tuesday night. And we had decided, we're just going to go ahead and close our doors.
Because of the ghost traffic was too much.
Gotta close my door for the ghosts, That
is so bananas.
And that last one of those days after that, Bryn got locked in our bedroom.
Oh, after that night?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Bryn went up to call her family and she went to close the door and she'd gone up every night to talk to her family after dinner. And then I heard somebody came through and she had texted somebody on the phone. She's like, I'm locked in the bedroom.
Oh my goodness.
And so I ran up the stairs to let her out and she was banging on the door. Help!
Oh my God.
Maybe the ghosts were like, no, we want these fucking doors closed. Keep them closed. A little bit like us with the clock. Close it.
Like I said.
The ghosts like,
I didn't feel like they didn't
keep them closed.
I didn't feel like they didn't like the doors being open. I thought they enjoyed them being open because they were having fun walking back and forth.
Like, they're always closed.
I don't feel like they were mad at us.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, it was. But yeah, they didn't. As long as the doors were
it was a summer solstice party.
It was a solstice party. Mm-hmm. Yeah, after that we kept the doors closed. But no, Bryn got locked in, and
how do you think that happened?
I don't know. I wasn't.
How do you when you lock? Because wouldn't that have to been? Is it locked from the ins? It must have been locked from the outside. Ugh.
You can't lock those doors.
You need a key, right?
they have the skeleton keyholes, because Bryn and I actually were playing with the skeleton keyhole one day because because there's like a little on the inside, there's like this little covering to the keyhole that's part of the door. And so we were both playing with it, and she was like, oh, I wonder what this is for. And I said, so people can't peek into your room. And she's like, oh, that's cool. So she was actually like looking through the keyhole trying to see if she could see through it and everything. But it was so we didn't have a key. There was no key to lock the door. So when the door closed,
that's even
how'd she get out then? Just
she and I took the door handle, and at the same time used as much strength as both of us could to turn the door handle to get the door open.
That's
it
weird.
Didn't lock. Yeah, it didn't actually lock. It was just
like
jammed.
Closed really. Yeah.
Like it was jammed. And when we talked to Beverly, I think it was the next day, we talked about Lynn being locked in the room, and she said, we've never had problems with that door.
I remember her actually, I think I was there and I didn't even know what you guys were talking about, but she was saying like, no, that's weird.
Yeah. She said, I'll have the guy check it out. She said, but we've never had issues with that door before.
Very interesting. That is super interesting.
Crazy.
So I just want to throw this out there super fast in case anyone who's listening to this is planning to come with us any years in any future sessions.
Join us and the ghosts.
Did you feel any, like, besides the guy, the obviously kind of slime ball who was in the one bedroom, and the kind of commandeering one, but commanding one, I guess would be the right word, in the hallway, did you feel any other sort of negative things, or it was other than those kind of, and those weren't even crazy negative either, they were just very slight.
They weren't.
So everything else was pretty positive, just personality. It was fine.
And no one else.
You did say that while we were there, because you're like, no, there's nothing bad here. Like,
no, I didn't feel anything bad there at all. In fact, in all the other places that we went, I didn't feel anything negative.
Aaron, do you remember what Ginger said to both of us when both of us at one point said, oh, well, if you're going to be a ghost, like, it would be quite nice to be a ghost in this castle. Like, at least you're in a nice big house and you're surrounded by other people. Then Ginger immediately turned around and was like, be careful what you wish for.
And you were like dead serious too. You're like, no.
And I felt don't say that. Myself. I thought I was going to drop down dead later that day and like end up being one of the castle ghosts. I was like, oh my God, I've just said something and it's going to make it come true.
I do. Yes. I remember being very sobered very quickly when Ginger was like, like, you don't say that. We were like, oh God.
It was the way you said it, Ginger. You were like, no, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Don't want to say that.
Yeah. Don't wish to live there forever because, Yeah.
See, she's doing it again.
Yeah. Don't wish to live in a place forever.
Drop dead that day. We meant that if at one point you come to your end of your natural life and you die of old age, 105, and
but you didn't say that.
Yeah,
would you rather be in
dead and gone? We don't want to. She doesn't want us to come back. So would
you rather be in like a house on your? Oh, actually, that might be quite nice.
I think you just don't want to be back anywhere, Lucy. That's the whole point.
Or would you rather be in a castle full of interesting characters that has visitors all the time, and you've got like entertainment?
Yeah, I want to be the one that messes with people. Like, I want to be the one that's opening the clock doors and knocking on the walls and the windows.
Yeah, me too.
I want to be the one that's playing with people. I mean, they've got to have their entertainment somehow.
Stuck in, like if you watch the TV series Ghosts, and then when she realizes that she can see ghosts, or they go to look at other houses because she decides to move, and when they go to other houses, there's like one house she goes to visit and there's just this old guy standing at the window going like that. Like, you'd rather be in the castle with all the ghosts having a laugh and playing chess with Robin.
I was gonna say, I just want Robin to be there because I love him so much.
He's the one that does the lights and like playing with the lights and like scaring people and like having fun with all the visitors. That would be a better scenario. That's what I meant, than being like in an apartment
alone
on your own, alone forevermore, waving out the window trying to grab someone's attention.
Yeah.
Or the two airmen that had clearly died like in a air accident and were like stuck midair, and they're just like in midair going hello
all day in the sky, you know. Oh my gosh. So correct me if I'm wrong, but you have a lot of other experiences from other places that you went to during your time abroad, which included periods of time before and after the retreat as well, right?
I did. So
and wait,
so after,
I just feel like
that should be a whole separate episode.
I was gonna say let's not launch into those, but let's actually have another episode where we if you want to come back, Ginger, if you would be so kind and come back and hang out with us.
Of course, but they're not really long stories to tell. So
but that's okay. We could have a short episode that is acceptable.
And short for us is like 2 hours, so that I'm sure you say short, it won't be short.
We can also eke a story out for an hour.
Yeah, my stories would be short, but your questions afterwards may not.
Exactly what we're talking about. Well, okay, this was really amazing. I think we should cut it because it's been an hour and 25 minutes.
Yes,
this was so
amazing,
so fun. I've been dying for this moment, so thank you so much for like being so cool about sharing your experiences.
And I think you're right, Karen. It made me feel a lot more calm about the presence of ghosts in the castle.
Way better.
Seeing how calm Ginger was, and
yes,
how it isn't just that someone's gonna lurk around the corner and go boo and like scare you. Right. It's like when I saw that shadow, when the both of us saw that shadow figure, it's almost like it happens and you're not while it's happening, it doesn't feel scary, and it's not until afterwards that you think, hang on a minute, what was that I saw? And so it's not as frightening as you think it's going to be. Thank you for making it less.
I know you really changed my perspective on all of it. And even just seeing your reaction to the negative one, say, and just being like, know that you have a power, just like you would have a power with anyone, be like, no, thank you. Like, I'm all set with that. I'm going to leave. And then like, it's just done. You're like, so if in case I was feeling uncomfortable, I could just use my words like I would with anyone and be like, no, thank you. Goodbye, scary man. Like it gives you a little bit more power. So you're not just like at the mercy of like seeing things and hearing things that you don't want to. So
I mean, they're just people going about their lives the way they did before they died. So they're just people like we are. They're just like
stuck there forever in their castle.
Few small details.
They're dead and they're stuck there forever.
And they're talking to you. Okay, great.
They're like they probably have loads of people throughout the year coming in, and then suddenly Ginger walks through the door and they're like, she can see us.
Yeah, just like on Ghosts. I know. So super cool. All right. Well, thank you so much. We can't wait to have you back again super soon so we can do this all over again and hear
in fact, Ginger, you should just come and live in Scotland with me, and then we could go around every haunted castle.
I know.
That would be so much fun.
Exhausted from ghost reading as a living.
I think at one point while I was there, I did text my husband like, all right, I live here now. And so I'm sending for you and the family.
Yes. So that's going to be me when I'm doing the same thing. Yep. Sean already knows. So awesome. We'll be there all together. 3 of us. Yeah. Amazing. So happy. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm just going to